So I just became a concubine. Let's see how my life goes. Very excited
You're
to see
12 years old.
what happens
playing
here.
barefoot in the dirt outside your family's shack in Ming Dynasty, China.
Hell yeah, I love me some Ming Dynasty China back in 1570. I remember those days.
When a black lacquered carriage pulls up, a man in silk robes steps out, face like stone, eyes like a butcher scanning the meat aisle. He's here for you.
Why do you gotta use that? Why do you gotta use the meat aisle specifically? Okay, so if you don't know anything about concubines, first of all, I would suggest you play a game called Crusader Kings 2 or 3, whichever one you want. That's a good kind of picture of what you're gonna have to do. But the video is gonna get into what a concubine is if you don't know. And in advance, I just want to say sorry for teaching about this. So to recap, I'm a 12-year-old girl.
He doesn't ask.
Let's go.
He inspects your teeth, your feet, your skin.
Ew.
Like your livestock on sale day. Then he tosses your father a sack of silver, and just like that, you're gone. So
my dad just gave me up like that? Bro, I'm a 12-year-old girl. Like, how much did he pay my pops? First of all, my pops must be one of those broke foos in Ming Dynasty China. How many broke people were in Ming Dynasty China? First, don't even answer that. I know that they're pretty much 99% of the population was super broke.
Old. Not as a bride, not even as a servant, but as a concubine.
Bro, why did my parents let me even go outside? I think for a lot of people, actually, that's why they wouldn't let their daughters go outside, is because you will get literally bought. Like, straight up just bought. Here's the thing. My parents probably didn't even want to sell me, but when they saw that price tag, they're like, if I'm a 12-year-old girl in Ming Dynasty China, what am I doing to contribute to, like, the farm fields or anything? I'm probably not helping the family at all versus, you know, some guy that gives my dad, like, $1 billion. He's, of course, going to take that.
Your mother's sobs fade as the cart rattles away, her face blurred by tears and dust. You're
absolutely love that it's only the mom that's crying. She's the only one sobbing that's out there like, ah! Meanwhile, my dad is just counting the dough, counting all this. He's like, I didn't even like that girl anyways.
Barely old enough to braid your own hair, and now you're cargo, headed for the Forbidden City. The air stinks of sweat and horse dung, and your stomach...
And I have probably no idea what is about to happen to me or what I'm going to have to deal with. I try to put myself in my actual 12-year-old self. I got to say, I don't feel like... I remember when I was 12 years old, I thought I was an adult, but now I look back and I'm like, I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Churns, not just from hunger, but from the rumors you've heard. Girls like you don't come back, ever.
Bro.
You arrive at a towering gate, red as blood, where eunuchs with cold eyes herd you like livestock.
Eunuchs. Let's look that up. Actually, let's not look that up, but they are castrated. Basically, they are there because they will not mess around with the concubines. Only the king gets to mess around with me. That's right. I'm for the king only because I'm part of the video, I guess.
Stripped naked, you stand shivering as they poke and prod. Teeth, skin, and feet. One girl's sent home for a crooked nose. Another's kept because her feet are small enough to bind. Yeah.
What happens when, like, you know, they paid for me, but then you get sent home? Do they actually send you home, and then do they take the money back? I'm assuming they probably take the money back.
Yeah. Footbinding. They crush your bones into lotus shapes
and
so
we're
you
talking
hobble
Ming
prettily for the emperor.
Yeah, I knew about this. It's actually very disturbing if you look up the photos. Like, what they did to women's feet, it looks creepy as hell. They look like elephant feet, to be honest to me.
Fun, right? Wrong. It's torture that'll leave you screaming for weeks. You pass the inspection, barely. Now you're in the harem, a maze of silk walls and whispered threats. Older concubines glare, their eyes sharp as knives. They're not your friends, they're your rivals, and they'd sell their own kids to keep their spot in the emperor's bed.
Bro, I'm 12 years old, too. Like, what am I supposed to do against this, like, 28-year-old woman or whatever when you get kicked out? They probably get... Well, actually, I don't even know. I was going to say they probably get up there in age, but I guess it all depends on the king, whatever that dude into.
Your first job? Serve tea to a senior consort who slaps you for pouring too slow.
Nice.
Your cheek stings, but crying's a luxury you can't afford.
Yeah,
the rules are simple. Obey, charm, survive. Slip up and you're out of a job.
So this video is actually very fascinating because there's a massive chess game that was clearly being played in all these royal palaces with like a massive, with, you know, lots of concubines. Like, it's all a giant game, and if you lose the game, you're probably, I guess the worst way you can lose, well, first of all, you die, but it could get a lot worse than that. You could literally be like tortured. I'm thinking like the Brazen Bull You probably won't. I mean, you got to really mess up to be like super tortured. I don't know about some of the torture devices that they were doing back in the Ming Dynasty, but they probably got a couple of ones. You know, when they like lather you up with like honey and then they put you on a log in the lake and they let like insects fest on you. That could possibly be your end as well if you really mess up.
Nope, you're dead. Maybe starved. Maybe tortured.
There.
In the worst possible way.
Yeah.
A girl next to you.
And you know what's crazy is you could be innocent. Like they could blame you falsely because it's not like there's any jury. It's not innocent until proven guilty. It's just whatever the king or his family really think. If they think you're the ones that did something bad, boom, all of a sudden you're getting tortured now.
He whispers about a concubine who spilled wine on a noble. She vanished. Rumors say she's buried under the palace floor.
I bet you it's probably not that bad. I mean, I don't think I would have got that as a 12-year-old girl. I probably would have believed that 100%. But it probably would have been very, very bad if you spilt wine or tea or coffee or whatever. I don't think they had coffee. If you spill anything on one of the eunuchs or whatever.
You're learning this fast. This isn't a palace. It's a battlefield.
Yeah.
And you're armed with nothing but your face. A year has passed, and you're 13 now, trapped in the Forbidden City's inner
Let's go.
court. Prison draped in silk. The walls shimmer.
I'm going to do literally anything to survive. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Like, you can have... First of all, you don't want to be a concubine. Okay, if that's not obvious. The concubines, we probably shouldn't bring that back. But worst of the worst, not good. I just said you might get tortured, and it might be a very painful death. Best of the best, though, you might be able to, like... You might basically become the most powerful woman in all of Ming China. I mean, it's possible. If you have the only heir to the throne... somehow, like, you might have to go around killing babies, though. I will say that. You might have to kill other babies to make sure that Yo baby is the only one that's able to adopt the throne eventually when the king dies.
Or with gold. But the air
is already a crazy-ass video. I can't even talk about this stuff.
is thick with jasmine and fear. You limp on bound feet. Each step, a knife in your bones. Because beauty means pain. And pain means you're still alive.
Yeah.
Your days start before dawn. Scrubbing floors for senior consorts who sneer like you're a roach in their rice. Your job? Make them look good while staying invisible.
Yeah.
Poor
Staying invisible, that's key, especially if I'm like 13. I'm trying to just hide in the shadows. I'm trying to be Batman, basically, as a Ming Dynasty Chinese girl.
Slow and a bamboo rod cracks your knuckles. Spill a drop and you're locked in a closet with no food for a day. Starvation's...
I bet you that would have happened to me many times. Like, especially because I didn't know what the hell I was doing at 12, 13 years old. I was an idiot. I mean, damn, I probably would have been locked in that closet half the year, maybe.
Great teacher, apparently. The Emperor's bed is the prize, and every girl here's playing a deadly game to get there.
That's crazy.
You're taught to smile, bow, and flutter your fan like it's a weapon. But the real battlefield is the whispers. That girl with the jade hairpin, she spread a rumor you stole a noble's comb. Now you're scrubbing latrines while she bats her eyes at the Emperor.
That's the thing, because all the older concubines, they're going to be coming after me. They're going to make sure that, so I'm probably going to get blamed for a whole lot of stuff. The first probably 2 or 3 years, not going to be very fun, I would imagine. I mean, it all depends on the king, though. This is one depiction of one version of the king. Maybe another king is going to, I don't know. I don't even want to know, to be honest, what other kings could have done.
Another concubine, May, slips you a warning. Trust no one. They'll drown you in silk to climb higher. She's not wrong. Last week, a girl was caught flirting with a guard.
It's funny how similar this situation is to, like, prison, I feel. Not that I've ever been to prison, but I'm just saying that I feel like imagining prison... I mean, I guess it is the same. You are in a prison. You're just in a concubine harem prison in Ming Dynasty China. I don't know why I have to keep on saying that, but it's literally like a prison. You need to make allies. You need to make friends. You got to find out who is trustworthy, who is not. Yeah, you're going to need to make some major diplomatic plays here.
Eunuchs drag
and you're probably going to have to get really lucky at the same time.
Her out, her screams fading into the moat. They say the carp ate well that night.
Dang.
Your big break comes when a senior consort picks you to serve at a banquet.
Like I said, I gotta assume. I mean, I don't know. With me, with my wisdom and age, that sounds a little ridiculous, but not being a 13-year-old girl in this situation, I gotta assume that some of these stories are probably just told, more than likely. These are all just stories. They probably want to scare the living crap out of you, but they might find me valuable if they chose me and they sent some other people home, they probably wouldn't want to just execute me. I would assume not. I mean, they would probably not look for a reason, especially if I made like a small mistake. But then again, maybe that's how I die. Maybe I'm assuming wrong, and that's why I would be the 13-year-old that gets buried underneath the palace.
You're dolled up in silk that costs more than your village, but it's a leash, not a reward. You pour wine for a noble.
Again,
his leering grin sour with rice liquor.
You're in a prison.
His hand grazing your wrist. Your skin crawls, but you can't flinch. The emperor's mother, face carved from stone, watches from her throne.
This lady's scary.
Her gaze a blade at your throat. One wrong move, a tremble, a drop, a glance too bold, and you're not just dismissed, you're erased.
This lady terrifying.
Your hands shake. Why?
But isn't it possible that one day I become this lady? That would be crazy. You could literally rise to the ranks, and then if your era gets chosen by luck or whatever, then bam, I get to become the lady with the face card of stone.
Sloshing dangerously close to the cup's rim. The noble chuckles, low and cruel, as sweat beads under your powdered face. You set the cup down, fan fluttering to hide your panic, and step back. Silence. The consort nods. Not useless, she growls. A lifeline in this viper's nest. Then the gong sounds, deep as a death knell. The emperor...
Man, I better just hope that my parents raised me right. That's going to come down... It's probably going to come down to that, honestly. Because when you're at this age and you're in an environment like this, man, I hope my parents just taught me to just shut the hell up, do whatever anyone tells you, hopefully have some good values, honesty, don't be tempted by whatever temptations are out there, gold, don't steal, don't be... Yeah, like, I'm going to honestly have to rely on the family values that were... instaured in me at this point, I think.
Coming tonight. Your pulse roars like a war drum, drowning out the banquet's clatter. If he chooses you, a son could lift you to consort status. If he doesn't, you're chaff for the next purge, like the hundreds starved last year. You're carried to his chamber on a palanquin.
I feel like the chances of death are very high, more than likely. Maybe not very high, but the chances of, yeah, they're not great. There's a pretty high percentage. I wouldn't want to be in this environment.
Bound feet useless, silk curtains swaying like a shroud. The doors creak
But you also have chances of greatness.
shut, sealing you in with a man whose whim is law. His shadow looms, eyes glinting like a predator's in the lamplight. You
Stay
kneel,
away from me.
Heart choking your throat, fan forgotten. His voice is soft, but it's a blade wrapped in velvet. Please me, or you'll wish you hadn't.
Jesus
You force a
Christ.
smile, every nerve screaming, as he steps closer.
Bro.
Failure's not just shame. It's
Bro.
a one-way trip to the moat. You survive.
Bro, what the... What is this? What is this? This is crazy animation. This is crazy. I don't even know what to say. Just,
The night, but the cost lingers in your trembling hands. Your reflection a stranger's. By 15, you're a ghost who's learned the harem's code.
Well, by 15, that's 3 years in this environment. You know I'm about to be pulling some strings, you know. Dang, I could kill this dude if I wanted. The only thing is if I kill the king, I don't know what would happen to me. Like, I mean, maybe it might be worth it. I don't know. I gotta think, you can't be, man, I mean, because no one's in the room with us, right? What if I just easily slipped a knife in with, you know, because I'm dealing with a bunch of cutlery from the kitchen and I'm cleaning stuff and things like that. But I think if you kill the king, you probably have like a horrific death, and I don't know if that's worth it. I have to think the king can't be, man, I don't know.
Emperor, sidestep the consort's daggers, and pray you don't end up like the girl who slipped from a balcony last month.
Oh, I could see that.
Silk scarf fluttering down like a broken wing. Survival's your only art, and you're painting it in blood.
By 15, dude, I was crazy. Like, I had like... I don't even know. I think in this environment, I would have been a little bit more battle tested, especially because it's 3 years in this concubine, in this little harem thing. I think at 15, I would have been able to move in the shadows. I would have been able to do what I needed to do to get the job. The only thing is, like, if I wanted to do that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Why am I talking like I can just outsmart all the other 15-year-olds? But I'm just saying, I think I was psycho enough, maybe to have been able to just like, man, I don't even know, dude. I don't even know how I can finish that phrase. I'm just not going to do it.
You're 16, and the Forbidden
Damn, I'm
City's
16
harem
now.
has carved you into something sharp, like a blade forged in fear. Your bound feet ache, your smile's a mask, and your eyes miss nothing.
Yeah, I'm
You've
sure
learned to dodge the consort's venomous glares and slip past their traps. Every day's a tightrope walk over a pit of snakes.
And I have to think I probably have made a lot of friends at this point. Well, I should say allies. I don't know if anyone's really my friend. I probably have made like a friend or two, even if it was just like a eunuch or two. But if I've survived for 4 years in this situation, and I know what I'm doing and I'm confident in the situation and stuff, then I probably have made a good amount of allies, and I know who to stay away from, who definitely not to trust. The thing is, you might want to be getting dirt actively on some of the girls that you don't like before they get dirt on you, because they might try to turn you in and all that stuff. You got to be able to defend yourself with like evidence and weapons of words of weapons. I don't even know what I'm saying.
The Emperor's noticed you. Once. He called your name.
Once.
And for a fleeting moment, you felt like more than a ghost in silk. Now, you're pregnant.
Bro.
Jackpot, right?
Bro, he said my name once and now I'm pregnant already? What kind of power is this? That's crazy. Well, I guess it was my time at 16. This is going to be a very different journey. And also, I'm going to need to protect this baby with my life. Maybe not right now. Well, first of all, someone could definitely poison me. One of the women here could probably put some stuff in my drink, poison me, kill me. If I'm that big of a threat, that is why I think in this situation, you really do want to be invisible. You don't want to be the king's #1 girl instantly, because more than likely, you're going to have a massive target on your back from the other girls, and someone's going to probably push me off a ledge or poison me or whatever.
Right? Wrong. A baby's your ticket to consort status, but it's also a target on your back. That Jade hairpin girl, now a consort herself, spreads a rumor you poisoned her tea.
Oh, there you go.
But truth's a luxury nobody cares about here. You're hauled before the Emperor's mother, her face cold as a tombstone. Prove your loyalty, she hisses, or join the ghosts under the palace.
Damn.
Your heart's a hammer in your chest, but you bow, voice steady.
Damn, pregnant and all, that's crazy. Someone's about to like throw me under the bus like this? Why does this feel like it's almost like a class, like a school setting? This literally is like a giant catty high school, I feel like, making out, except people die. I feel like this might be a good TV show. I feel like it could make a good TV show if you expand it to like 10 episodes and, I don't know, HBO or something.
Swear your innocence. A eunuch's whip hovers, ready to tear your skin if you flinch. By some miracle, a servant vouches for you. She saw you pour the tea clean. You're spared, but the message is clear. You're one lie away from a noose.
Again, this is why you need to make friends. You need to be a very nice person, very humble. Make friends with the servants, the eunuchs, the guards. How many other people are going to be at this royal palace? There's going to be visitors. But then again, I feel like if you started talking to too many people, that would also draw some bad attention. If you were trying to go way out of your way to make all these networking connections, that could definitely make you a target for sure. But networking probably would be a good thing, to be nice to people so they can vouch for you in situations like this.
You give birth to a son, and the palace buzzes like a kicked hive. A male heir could make you untouchable, but it paints a bullseye on your baby's tiny head.
Yeah.
You cradle him.
And remember, you don't know the gender back in those days. It's 1570. Well, I think it's like 1575 now that I'm like 16 years old or something like that. But you don't know the gender. All of a sudden, a male pops out. That's key. Now, if it's a girl, obviously it's not quite that really big of a deal. But you have a boy, which is massive in these days.
Him in secret, whispering promises you can't keep, while rumors swirl of consorts slipping poison into cradles.
Yeah, I wonder if you can keep it a secret that you have a boy. I wonder how many people did that. If you can, who was in the room with you when you gave birth? That's the issue. If you have like one trusted person in there to help you out. But then again, it's probably there's probably some royal doctor or something like that, medical guy on site. And he probably lets that shit leak, at least to the king or to who knows. Probably the king. The king has probably got to know. But you don't want all the other women to know. That's the key. Even as the king, I feel like I'm incentivized to not let everyone know. Like, I don't want... Like, if I'm the king, I know I shouldn't be thinking this way because we're the 16-year-old girl here. But if I'm the king, I don't want all this cattiness because, well, first of all these women are, you gotta really find the ones that you can trust because they are going to do stuff like this. They're going to potentially kill your heir. They're going to potentially, poison the good girls. And, they might just have like this crazy fiend for power. They might be fiending for that power. So maybe that's why you want to say, hey, if we catch you lying or do something sketchy, I'm going to torture your ass. Like that. You might want to actively put that out in the air so that people, you don't have, clearly it's going to happen either way though, to be honest. I mean, but
Stranger now. You jolt awake at every creak, expecting a knife. The Emperor summons you again, and you're carried to his chamber, silk curtains swallowing you like a grave. You charm him, fan fluttering, voice soft as moonlight, and he smiles. You're named a low-ranking consort. Congratulations, you've climbed one rung in hell, but the higher you rise, the harder they push to make...
Very good way to describe it. One rung in hell. You're still in hell, but it's not quite as low. Man, and what sucks too is like you're not really able to seek out this really feels like a reality TV show where it's like The Bachelor and everyone's just trying to vie for time to get with the Emperor. Like you want to figure out what makes this guy tick. You got to figure this guy out. And man, it must be, you don't have the life experience to really be able to know, to do some like deep psychological analysis of this king. Because I'd be trying to do that. I'd be trying to like figure out all the little things how this guy thinks, how he makes decisions, so I can get in there, like Inception style, plant little seeds of ideas into his head, corrupt him a little bit.
Make you fall. May, your only ally, warns you of a plot.
May's my only ally? That's crazy. You have one friend. You've been there for 4 years? Maybe. See, the thing is, you might have had friends before, but now you just had a male son, so now you have significantly less friends. Some of your friends that you thought you had before, not so much. And again, it's already a catty environment. You're in an environment with like other 15, 16, 17, I don't know what the age range goes, but it's like high school out here. You get friends for like a couple months, and then all of a sudden someone does something, doesn't let you copy your homework or some shit, and now you're not friends anymore.
Jade hairpin consorts bribed a eunuch to frame you for treason. Treason means execution. Not just you, but your son. You act fast, slipping a gold hairpin to a loyal maid who exposes the plot. The jade hairpin girl's dragged away, her screams echoing through the palace. You win this round, but at what cost?
What sucks is if there's a big enough conspiracy to take you out, there's probably nothing you could do. If like the entire consort, if the entire royal family feels like, you know what, we really don't want this person around. Like we cannot let her heir be the only one for whatever reason they come up with. Even if you played the perfect game, if you played the perfect diplomatic game, if you were the perfect concubine, it doesn't matter. You're probably going to get tortured.
Your hands shake as you hold your son, knowing every victory makes you more enemies.
Yeah.
By 18, you're a survivor, a chess piece who's learned the board. But the game never ends.
I feel like we would have learned the board by like 16 and being there for 4 years, but now you've been there for 6 years, so you're probably a master at it.
A new girl arrives, younger, prettier, her eyes hungry for your spot. The Emperor's gaze shifts. Your son's your only shield.
Boy.
But even that's not enough when a plague sweeps the palace.
This is interesting because now you're flipped on your head. Now you're maybe the higher ranking woman, but the newer women coming in, now I'm thinking, how can I slit this girl's throat? How can I, that's a crazy statement, but how can I push this girl off a ledge? Because I want to survive. I want my son to be the king. We might need to be throwing some 12-year-old girls off ledges. That's all I'm going to say. Or poisoning them. Or who knows what else. It's framing them. It's funny how fast things turn around.
You hear whispers of a purge. Too many concubines. Not enough rice. Last time, hundreds starved. You clutch your son tighter, praying you're not next. Survival's your crown.
Man, it's just so hard to be like not annoying as a 12-year-old. I was so annoying as a 12-year-old. Not every 12-year-old's annoying, of course, but I feel like there's a good amount that are. How, in this situation, I guess you just get punished heavily. I think naturally you're probably not that annoying, even if you're entering this environment at 12 years old, because you just get punished heavily until you start acting right. You get thrown in a closet for 24 hours, and then that happens consecutively. You probably end up just stop talking.
But it's forged in blood, and it's heavier than you ever imagined. You're 22. Your son now a toddling target in a palace that chews up hope and spits out bones.
Bro, he's not old enough.
You've dodged knives, both steel and whispered. But the air's heavier now, thick with plague and panic. The Emperor's sick. The court's a mess. and whispers of a purge slither through the silk curtains. Your name's on a list. You feel it in your gut. Then it happens. A rival consort, that viper with the pearl earrings, accuses you of cursing the Emperor's health.
We gotta kill her. We just gotta kill her. We should have figured it out earlier. I'm 18. I let her survive for too long. We should have tried to kill her at 16.
Witchcraft. The word's a death sentence. You're dragged to a stone courtyard.
Man, how many times have women been accused of witchcraft? That's crazy. Even in Ming China, even in Ming Dynasty, 1575 China, whatever I'm saying. You know what I was thinking about? Like, it really depends on when you enter this. A big factor is when you enter the consort and what age and what the king is feeling at that time. That's going to be such a huge factor. Like, if I'm like, do I really want to get into this? If I'm like entering in at 12 and the king's like 75, I feel like what am I going to do? You know what I mean? Like, his life is basically over. Like, I'm just going to be cleaning and he's going to die. Like, and then I don't even know if I'm going to be around for the next king. So it really depends when you're entering, how old the king is, where he is in life. Also, this doesn't even take into account what the king could be dealing with. Again, it's China. Who knows if the Yellow River is going to flood and kill millions of people, and then they just come at the royal palace and, you know, take his head off. Do I also get killed in that situation? Maybe not. I might wish I would have just got killed in that situation, though.
Moonlight glinting off the executioner's blade.
But yeah, like, whatever he's thinking about, like, all the things, all the political stuff, because right now he's just focused on his concubines, but in reality, he would be having to deal with all sorts of different things. He'd probably be leaving the palace for multiple things. Maybe there's a war going on. Maybe the Mongols are attacking. Maybe, who knows, the British are selling opium in the south to our people, and now all of our people are drug addicts. I don't know.
Your son's screams echo from the nursery as you're forced to your knees, bound feet throbbing like a second heartbeat. The Emperor's mother looms. Her voice,
this lady.
ice. Confess, or your boy joins you in the dirt. Your throat's dry as ash, but you spit out a denial, praying your loyal maid can pull strings. The blade hovers, cold air kissing your neck. Then a shout. Your maid bursts in, clutching a stolen letter proving the pearl earring consort's lie.
Top
She
secret.
bribed a eunuch to plant herbs in your room, framing you.
Nice.
The Emperor's mother pauses, eyes narrowing. The blade drops. Not on you, but on your accuser. Her screams cut short, blood pooling like spilled ink.
Finally,
You're spared,
we won.
but your son's not safe. You smuggle him to a distant cousin, a risky move that could cost you everything. The plague worsens, and you're
That
cuffing
sucks.
them, lungs burning like they're full of embers. The palace doctors don't bother with concubines. By 25, your body's breaking, bound feet infected,
25.
joints aching from years of kneeling, lungs scarred from disease. You're no longer the Emperor's favorite. A new girl is taking your place. Her laughter echoes.
That's literally the meme. Did anyone else notice the meme?
You're no longer the Emperor's favorite. A new girl.
The suspicious girlfriend meme or whatever. What's it called? The boyfriend thing. That's hilarious. I didn't even catch that.
Girl's taking your place.
I almost
Her
didn't.
laughter echoing where yours once did. But you've left a mark. Your son's alive, hidden, maybe free. You've trained younger girls, teaching them to survive the harem's claws, passing on your hard-won tricks. As you lie on a threadbare mat, fever eating you alive, the palace roars on. Silk rustling, knives sharpening. You were never just a concubine. You were a spark in a dynasty's flame. A shadow that outwitted death until it came knocking. Your last breath slips out, but your son carries your fight. A flicker of hope in a world that tried to crush you. So you outwitted the harem's deadly.
All at 25. I won the game to die of a fever at 25 years old. Doesn't feel like I won, but I guess I won. My son's somewhere out there. Hopefully he carries on the legacy. He's going to have some crazy character development because I don't know how old my son was, but he didn't look very old. He looked like, well, if I had him at 16, I think he's probably like 9. He's like 9 years old. And who knows how life's going to go for that guy. That guy being my son, but it probably isn't going to go very well. Hopefully my cousin is a good de facto mom, but she probably is not.
Clause. Click the card now or
It's
miss
typically
the
how the Disney princess stories go. You know, like the people, when someone else got to raise your kid, they're not going to raise your kid as good as you would have. But hopefully he's good. Yeah, the whole movie of Mulan is starting to make a whole lot more sense. Would I rather just be a soldier in the army and maybe, get stabbed by a sword instantly or killed by an arrow? It doesn't sound that bad. This seems like a lot of drama to have to deal with, to be honest. But yes, it was a common practice all over the world, but being a Chinese concubine was probably one of the worst. I think that's specifically why this channel chose it. I'm glad he did, because that did make things a little bit more interesting. That video is by Lost Legacy, a pretty relatively small channel, but that video has been blowing up. Definitely go subscribe. He's making great stuff. Hopefully he makes some more. Maybe I'll come back and react to some more. And let me know if you liked me being a concubine. Thank you to my patrons this month. Drew seems like the kind of guy who never loses the remote. Drew's Argentinian Trust Fund, Rip Grandpa. Drew Supremacy League. Alexander the Terrible. Carmel S. Connor Pavlik. Douche Baggins. Frederick Tiblin. King. Bear Hayes. Luxembourg Lover. Miglu. The Goat. Nolan. Lord Tyrol. And Tambrin